before we get started here, we'll do a little housekeeping just for everybody. As a reminder, there's a Q&A feature. You can ask questions. We'll answer them at the end. We will have our slides and everything available. You can either download it on our website. We'll also send a reminder email out in the next couple of days that has it. And then let's see here. Make sure that we have the chat feature up and the Q&A up. So if you need to ask us questions or anything, like I said, we'll try and get to them at the end. Today we're going to be talking about live chat, and I think it's, we're pretty excited about this. We've seen, as with everything that's kind of happened with COVID, there's been a pretty cool, I don't want to say cool, but just interesting shift that has taken place with really just how we're all doing everything. I mean, I can't remember the last time I ordered or did grocery shopping the sort of old way. It's all, delivery with an app and everything. And we're seeing the same thing happen with a lot of our clients that we work with is, just shifting to pretty much all online interaction. And so live chat is a great way to help facilitate that conversation and really just be an extension of your team, especially now that your teams are most likely remote or mostly remote. It's a great way to help make sure that you're continuing to drive performance and free up your team's time a little bit to focus on what matters most. So I think that, with that, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen here.
All right.
And
I'm going to stop my video so I can keep my connection.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks everybody for joining. We're going to talk about live chat today, creating conversation with today's customers. And see if I can get here we go. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Andrew Cederland. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at ConversionLogix, and happy to be here to chat with you all today. And joining me is Joe Carino. Joe, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yes. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you taking the time today. We've got a great, webinar set up, and I think it's going to be really interesting to kind of speak about the different options and different availability things out there for you. Thank you.
Awesome. So as usual, a little bit about us at ConversionLogix. We're a digital marketing and lead generation company. We really focus on really just two things: driving traffic to our clients' websites and then building tools to help convert that traffic. And so we're a Google partner, Facebook partner. We've been on the Inc. 5000 list for fastest growing companies for a while now. And with our a lot of our paid media strategies plus the Conversion Cloud, which is our lead generation tools, it's really been a great way for clients to get a lot of performance out of their digital campaigns during COVID. So just a little bit of agenda today. We're going to talk about state of digital marketing, look at some longer time periods, month over month, 15 week over 15 week, and kind of see more broader trend lines versus focusing on the week over week. I don't think is super helpful now that we're kind of away from most of the a lot of the drastic changes that we saw back in March. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about emerging communication trends and some of the data that we've pulled together to show, how people communicate, how they like to communicate with businesses. And then Joe's going to talk a little bit about, in light of these communication trends, there's really two different solutions that you can implement on your site. It's live chat or a chat bot, and they both have their pros and cons, and he's going to kind of go into that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about lead generating live chat strategies. And so specifically, we do live chat. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some things that we do to make sure that we're generating the most possible leads from our live chat team. So first, per usual, state of digital marketing. Familiar chart. This is looking at website sessions over time. This is looking from March 22nd through June 20th. You can see coming out of the COVID dip there back in March, we've continued to rise. This is just measuring overall activity on clients' websites with Google Analytics. And so you can see that basically it's pretty much plateaued. There's no kind of huge increases or decreases over the last little bit. If you draw a line even from May till now, it's almost a flat line. And so I think, a lot of the fluctuations that we saw earlier have really gone away, and we're kind of in a much more stabilized state, which is kind of nice to see. Looking at month over month, again, organic traffic is down a little bit, 2.9%. There was a peak there in May where there was a ton of organic traffic, took a little bit of a dip. Paid traffic is up over the same time period of 7%. And so paid traffic is, as we've sort of seen throughout the whole COVID, pandemic, your paid media campaigns have really helped bolster your overall website traffic as organic activity has dipped a little bit. Looking at 15-week over 15 weeks, so this is sort of looking at basically since COVID started to the 15 weeks before COVID, there's a huge increase in organic traffic and paid traffic. And so, even factoring in that giant dip there back in March, overall, people are spending a lot more time online, and then they're engaging a lot more with the different marketing channels, as you'll see here in a second. Looking at 4-week over 4-week, everything is, up a little bit across the board. We saw a little bit of a dip month over month in retargeting impressions across our platforms, but paid search, targeted display, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, these are all up in huge ways month over month. And then when we look at 15 weeks since the start of COVID, versus the prior 15 weeks, you can see that just huge increases across the board in all of these different channels. And, this is just more illustrating the effect that people are really looking to find solutions online more than ever before. And we definitely see that in this chart as well. This is looking at Conversion Cloud leads that we generate for our clients, and then looking at that versus the store visit metric that is a conversion inside of Google Ads. And you can see that the store visits have stayed pretty steady over the last little bit. And I think that will probably continue to hold true as, some states are reopening and then adjusting and revising. Texas and Florida in particular are, making adjustments for, what's open and what's not. So I think that we'll continue to see that line stay relatively flat, while online leads will continue to grow as people they're funneled toward the only option that really makes sense right now. Looking at 4-week over 4-week, we have a 26% increase in Conversion Cloud leads. We're seeing, more leads and tours and appointments getting set for our clients than ever before. And again, it's an encouraging sign to see that, they can't show up to your store, but at least they're able to convert on the internet. And it's been a nice thing to see that there's a lot of activity and a lot of converting, buying still happening. And the last chart that we'll look at is goal completions over time. This is really just a measure of, are people actually taking conversion actions? It's one thing to go to a website. It's one thing to, be searching for something, but what are they actually doing? And so this is looking at, people that are triggering any type of, action that we measure. So any sort of goal that we're trying to accomplish for a client. And so it could be a soft conversion, like visiting a specific page. It could be a hard conversion, like submitting a lead. But overall, the combination of both of those, it's continuing to rise. You can see there's a little bit of a plateau there at the end, but overall, there's a big upswing versus especially where we were a few months ago, which is great to see. So now I'm going to switch over to talking about some data that we have on emerging communication trends. And so one of the things I think that we've probably all realized about ourselves more recently than ever before is that we have really high expectations for how things should be sent to us, delivered to us. I don't know if anyone else is, I feel like now if my item doesn't ship, on one day Amazon Prime, I'm like, what the heck? I have to go back to 2-day Amazon Prime. It's like, it feels archaic, where 2-day shipping a couple years ago was awesome. I even, I get same day a lot of the time. Being located near Seattle, I think I benefit from having a few extra warehouses near me. But, I have really high expectations for all these different things I communicate or I work with online. Even, if your Netflix buffers for half a second now, it's like unheard of. And I think prospects looking to do business with you have the same high expectations. One of the things that, people really want is 24/7 availability. I don't, the sort of the day of the contact form of I'm going to submit a contact form and hope somebody gets back to me, I think is getting less and less by the day. People want immediate responses. I don't want to just send my information out somewhere and hope that they get back to me. I want to know that, I'm going to get an answer. I'm going to be able to either take the next step and move forward, or if, I don't get the answer that works for me, based on that business, then I can go somewhere else. And then the last thing is that, there's a lot of preferred communication channels that people like to work in, and generally they're all mobile friendly and mobile heavy, because we're all on our phones especially more now than ever before. So first is one thing to just note is people are active around the clock. And so looking at, this data specifically shows apartment communities, but this trend actually follows through almost identically across all the different verticals that we work with, senior living, automotive, local businesses. And it's that there's a huge amount of traffic that comes through during normal business hours, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. But 47% of all website sessions, all traffic coming to your website happens outside of these hours. And so there's not really an opportunity for people to reach you during that time. And so they can submit a contact form or set a reminder for them to call you in the next morning. But there's just a huge amount of traffic that's there waiting to be communicated with and tapped into. A couple of just different stats on conversion rates for leads. One is that there's a huge need for speed. The chances of qualifying a lead is 21 times higher when your team responds within 5 minutes versus 30 minutes, and 60 times higher than a 24-hour response. And then the second that goes hand in hand with that is be the first. 78% of customers buy from the company that responds to their inquiry first. Making your prospects wait for a response pushes them to do business with your competitors. And so when you factor these in that, hey, if I have the chance to be the first responder and I have the chance to respond quickly, that just dramatically increases the chance that they'll buy from you, because you're able to start that conversation and answer their questions and get them to a very qualified place that then hopefully your leasing team can take over and close the sale. So preferred communication channels. There's a few different ones that are very, very common. Obviously, there's live chat, email, social media, and then phone call. And so the big thing, I guess, what I wanted to highlight here is that live chat actually has the highest preferred communication channel. And I think, my sort of hypothesis here is that it's a nice combination between email and phone. So email is nice for prospects because they don't have to talk to anybody. Nobody likes to talk on the phone anymore, but it's slow. You have to wait for somebody to get back to you. Are they going to respond in 5 minutes? Are they going to respond in 5 hours? I'm sitting at my computer right now, or I'm on my phone right now. The second is a phone call, which is great because you can call up, you can get all your answers, your questions answered, but you have to talk on the phone and initiate and hope that they answer and you don't go to voicemail. Live chat is sort of a nice mix between both of these, where you're able to sort of stay behind the computer screen. You can just type. You don't have to talk to anybody, but you're still able to get the answers that you need to make your decisions. One of the things that we've really noticed during COVID is a huge increase in overall chat conversations. And so this is looking at our personal live chat data. And we've seen a 44% increase in chat conversations since the beginning of COVID when compared to the period before. And so you can see there's an absolutely massive uptick right here. And that is, people asking, are you open? Are you doing virtual tours? That was sort of right when all of the shutdowns were happening and the, sheltering in place was going on. And, there's a huge spike. Obviously it's normalized somewhat, but it's still much higher than it was before. And I think one of the, the big reason for this is that there's a lot of very nuanced questions that are needing to be asked now. Hey, normally, you can go on a website and get most of the answers that you need. Oh, is this item going to be in stock? Is the pool going to be open? What availability, do you have on this specific apartment or unit or whatever it might be, or vehicle? But now there's so many different things to consider. What type of tour or appointment are you doing? Do I have to wear a mask? Do I have to get my temperature checked? there's a lot of just sort of interesting nuance that's happening. And I think that has created just a lot more chats of people coming in, trying to maybe understand a few more things about, what either a community or a business that they're hoping to purchase from before they actually go ahead and make that purchase. It's not as cut and dry as it was before. A couple of things that sort of make this, obviously we want to be able to reply quickly. We want to be able to answer every question, but there's a few things that make it tough. One is limited bandwidth, especially right now. People are remote, teams are lean. Heaven forbid, you may have gone through a layoff or two, and so you're trying to do more with less people on your team. And it makes it hard to make sure you give each prospect the best response you possibly can. And then number two is the evolving preferences that people have. They want the quick response. They want to be able to communicate quickly on their phone. And then the third is after hours. I mean, everyone wants break. It's good and healthy to, have good work-life balance. But like we saw before, if 47% of your traffic is coming in after hours, you're leaving your website unattended and hoping that they get the answer and hoping that they care enough to, submit a contact form if they don't see the answer that they need readily available. And so it's a little bit tough to really fulfill all these needs. A couple of just interesting stats on response times. The first one is, on the real estate industry as a whole. And so the average reply time is 15 hours from an inquiry, which is just astronomical. I mean, 15 hours is the person is going to be in a totally different headspace by the time you actually are able to get back to them versus if they're there on your site, ready to take action. You want to make sure that you can capitalize on that. And then the second is that 64% of apartment seekers specifically submit 3 applications or more during their leasing journey. And so the longer that they wait for a response, the better the chances that they're going to get it from somebody else. Again, like we saw across all businesses, 78% of people do business with the first one that they reach out to. And so it's really important to have that first mover advantage and then respond quickly. So that's sort of the communication gap that exists. Prospects wanting one thing, actually being able to provide it is something else altogether. And so Joe's going to talk through live chat versus chatbots and kind of 2 different ways to accomplish this goal of getting prospects what they need.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that.
Let me give you a little remote control here.
Remote. I appreciate that. Let's see what we got. All right. Looks like I'm good. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. And obviously, the communication is very important when it comes to, communicating to our clients these days. So, live chat chat becomes much more important. And certainly, we're going to take a look at 2 different options that are available out there right now in the market. One is live chat and the other one is chat bots. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. The first thing we want to do when considering a chat strategy is always to make sure that you're asking the right questions. So, start off with saying to yourself, what are the real primary reasons to have an online chat solution? Are you looking for ways to respond quickly to your clients outside of the normal hours? As Andrew said, 46% of those people are responding outside of your normal hours. Do you have a team that, is too busy, that can't respond to them or around the clock? You really need to look at answer those different questions when trying to develop this strategy. How personalized do you want to make that chat experience? Do you want to make it where you can engage with the client throughout the entire chat process, or just simply send them through with a bot? And we're going to take a look at a few different scenarios there. You also want to be able to look at, how hands-on your team can be, either throughout the day or throughout the night. And then obviously budget becomes very important. There are different pricing models that are out there, but certainly you want to take a look at what really makes sense when it comes to a managed chat solution for your particular needs. So let's take a look at the bot experience. Obviously, the bot approach is one where you're going to get these pre-recorded answers that when people come to your site, they're going to get these very pre-established, responses to your questions. and those, I should say, pre-recorded responses. That's where the bot becomes very much a uh, uh, let's say a product where it just pushes out answers based on really what it has available to itself. The end result is, you are going to get quick answers and quick responses, but they're not really going to be able to answer those really unique questions that prospects are going to have. And that's going to become very important through the chat process. And in this particular case, where a user saying, are utilities, included in my monthly rate? Here are some examples of bots that are out there. Under the Woodhouse example, clearly that bot is not able to answer the question, and they're giving the user back some pre-recorded or programmed buttons for you to fill in. The second example over at Arborwood Heights, again, is not able to fully answer the question. So they go into really, hey, give me your contact details. So now you're kind of filling out just a contact form. And then in their other response there to the right, they're pushing back to you saying, thank you for the information, someone will get back to you. So there's a real limitation when it comes to a bot's response based on those pre-programmed answers that we talked about. Conversely, if you take a look at live chat experience, this is where you have to look at saying, okay, what really is a live chat team and how does it work? Okay. In our case, our live chat agents, serve as an extension of your sales team. They're able to answer questions, inquiries, and really get those qualifying questions and information, through the conversation. The result really turns out to be, that, you're getting the majority of your prospects' questions answered, quickly and efficiently. A lot less inquiries are being passed on to your team. Contact information is being communicated correctly. And you really end up with a great client, a great customer experience through the entire process. Here's some questions, though, that I thought were really interesting. When we looked at over the questions over the course of the last 3 years with our team, we broke them out into different areas, and we kind of had some fun with them. But we looked at like complex leasing questions. 23% of the questions relate to complex leasing questions, such as, do you have short-term leases? What about furnished housing? Do you offer different types of, leasing lengths, if you will? And that becomes very complicated for bots. Specific questions about pet questions are always fun because obviously, pet policy, what type of breeds do you have? I know the team likes to laugh that I live in Florida, so of course I'm going to bring my pet alligator. Questions like that become very challenging. And believe it or not, the pet alligator question was asked by somebody at one time through our chat process. The parking terms, suppose I want to bring a second car or I have additional vehicles. Utilities, same thing. What are those what's included in those monthly utilities? You can see where the questions start to get very complicated, and these are the majority of questions that are being asked by users when they are going to your site. So in comparison between a live chat and chatbots, there are some strengths and weaknesses to both. And obviously your live chat is going to be, answering simple and sophisticated questions, generating, leads, really frees up your team because now they're not having to just get an inquiry from somebody, but now they're going to get an actual, lead that could be directly focused on what they're looking for. And obviously you're going to have a great customer experience. It's a little bit higher in price, but overall, not that much. When it comes to chatbots, conversely, you have, very simple questions that can be answered. They can generate a lead, but the lead is not really, it's more of an inquiry than anything else because, the bot hasn't really fully vetted those particular, questions, which we're going to talk about. So it becomes a little more of a challenge. And, at the end of the day, the customer experience is much more, affected by, the entire process. And the pricing can range anywhere from $150 to $400. But let's take a look at that live chat strategy that Andrew was focusing on earlier that we also talked about. It's really important that through the entire process, questions are being asked. Capturing lead information could not be more important through that entire process. The agents are asking, getting the full name, getting their phone number, getting, communication that if they get disconnected, they're able to respond back quickly. And at the end of the day, our chat team has converted over 70% of chats, of prospects into actual leads over the last 3 years. One thing they've done very effectively is continuing the conversation. The average conversation for a chat is about 11 minutes long. And you'd be surprised as people start really engaging with chat, they're answering questions like, what are the move-in dates? What are the different floor plans? What's your email address? They gather really important details before they pass that over to your team. So the next steps with that really is that you're going to end up getting 20% of our live chats have actually turned into scheduling a tour right away through the entire process. And of course, it's all about providing great service. I think when it comes down to, friendly from the start, as it says, we really try to make sure that everyone is greeted well, right from the beginning in the entire chat experience, and really setting that level of expectation that someone has going to your site where they're going to get that actual live chat experience. So it's really helpful for conversations. Some really interesting facts is that our team has, been rated at 4.5% of customer service, which has been phenomenal. We can translate into 40 different languages through the chat experience. And the average response time is 8 seconds that we can jump on a chat, or that a live chat can actually, respond to a user. Whereas I think on one of Andrew's slides, it was almost 15 hours. Sometimes people get a response back through some other communication. And obviously the follow-up is so important. I mean, research shows communities that, really get that big, return on investment are ones that follow up, at least, 5 times over the next 4 days. So there's different ways of doing that. Through chat, you can send your prospects, emails letting them know. You can actually reach out to them in different ways and ask different questions, such as, hey, did you like this floor plan or not? So there's multiple ways you can utilize chat to really stay engaged with that client. Here at Conversion Logics, there's actually 4 specific things we like to talk about our chat team. Obviously, we are 24/7 now, 7 days a week. We are a US-based organization that, you're going to find our team here in the US that can translate in 40 different languages in real time. So it's not, there's no real delays exactly through that process, which is why we're able to respond quickly within 8 seconds of someone's initial response to a live chat session. And again, 70% of our conversions, have led to individuals showing up, for lead, it's turned into a lead where they've shown up for tours at our clients, facilities. So let's take a look at some of the takeaways. First one is prospects have a much higher level of expectation. And I think that's true for everything, as even Andrew said, expecting a delivery now within 1 or 2 days. It's very important that we meet those high expectations. Slow responses, they cost you business. If you're going to, have a slow response, remember that client is going to be out there searching multiple places, through their journey, and you want to make sure that you're responding to them quickly. Live chat versus chatbots, they are different, but it really comes down to what you are able to manage through that entire chat process. And it's important to take a look at the different options, that they both offer. And certainly it comes down to qualified leads. Nothing's more important than getting an actual lead that is qualified over and above, because that's going to send your team on their journey much more quickly than having to really filter through just a contact form, as you saw in some of those other examples we showed. So I would suggest, as taking the next step, is really take a look at evaluating your prospect communication strategy. That's so important. People tend to overlook this area sometimes, but I think it's becoming more and more important. And we're seeing that with our clients as it continues to grow every single day. So reach out to our team. Obviously, we've got a great team of professionals that can walk you through the process, step by step, can really, be that, consultative approach to help you through the entire process and educate you more on where we can really help benefit your team. And of course, you can always find information at our site. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Andrews. We can open it up for some questions that I know some of the people may have out there. But I want to thank you for listening to that part of it. And let's go ahead and jump into some questions, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I think one thing I wanted to highlight is that you can actually just go onto our website and strike up a chat. We have our, we have our chat team ready and waiting. So if you want an example to kind of see how it feels and how it works, I highly recommend you go do that. And then also, secondly, is that the 24/7 expansion for us is brand new. We just launched it a couple weeks ago. We're pretty excited about it. So if you've thought about doing live chat in the past, but you weren't really sure about how high quality would be or what the availability was, it's now 24/7. It's as high a quality as it's ever been, and we're pretty excited about it. So with that, we'll just wait and hang out, see if there's any questions that trickle in. I don't see any so far, so it seems pretty straightforward. Joe, quit moving your mouse. I got to take your control away.
Oh, I'm trying to sorry about that.
No worries. You're good now.
All right. I was trying to find my questions. There they are. All right. Good. Thanks.
All right. Well, still not seeing any questions, but for those of you that that want to see a recording of this or see any of the slides, we'll have those available. You'll see that in an email in the next couple of weeks, next couple of days. Not that slow. And
there's one question there. There is one question there. Yep.
I see that. Yep. And then we'll also have we'll have them available on our website too. And so one question is, what is your conversion rate on live chat compared to Schedule Genie? So live chat, it's a little bit different. So 70% of all of the people that chat in become a lead, which is obviously very, very high. And so the overall conversion rate of a chat is higher. I think the conversion rate of somebody that opens up Schedule Genie, which is the equivalent, it's about, I think 60% of the people that open up Schedule Genie will convert on it. And they're very different tools that work well together. I sort of think of it as different call to action options for wherever each person's at. So some people, they already know what they want. They know what they they know that they want to take the next step. They want to do a tour. They want to claim the offer. That's where, our Schedule Genie and Concession Manager tools are great. Others might have more intricate questions. And so that's where chat can really step in and help. And they really work well together. And what's interesting is that when we add one where, if we have live chat and we add Schedule Genie, we don't really see a whole lot of cannibalization of leads. It really just, because there's different people on the website, it really just creates more leads overall. Question about what is the charge back to the property? So our cost is about $300 for live chat, and it's 24/7, fully managed, English, native English speaking, US based, and it's very, very high quality, and it doesn't matter on the property size. It does not. It's a flat fee no matter how big the property is or how big the business is. And then the question is, how do we ramp up each property or community or business so the responses feel custom to each respondent? So we have a great survey that our team will work with you to fill out. And the vast majority of it is stuff that we'll actually gather ourselves. So we'll go through and gather all the pertinent details about, your address and your phone number and where you are and all that kind of stuff. But there's always some specific nuance that is very, very helpful to have. And so we have a great questionnaire that we provide to you, and you actually help us fill in the gaps. And so if you have a very specific, if we have a specific, question that always gets brought up because of either your location or things like that, we always make sure to kind of get suss those out, so that way we have the most complete information available. And then the other benefit is that it gets better over time. And so when we realize, oh hey, we've seen this question a couple of times, let's make sure we get an answer to it. So that way we know how to answer it moving forward. And so it's not just sort of a blind, oh yeah, here's the question and I'm just going to put a canned answer in there. It's very fluid, and it feels very much an extension of your team to the person that's on the website. We do not have a yearly contract for somebody asking. We usually do a 6-month contract. And so any other questions? Looks like can live chat teams submit work orders, or is this for prospects? It's for everybody. So we get a fair amount of, obviously there's residents that will chat in. And so a lot of times if there's specific resident questions that are getting asked, if we're specifically talking about a community, we'll make sure that we can answer some of those questions. And then, for your question specifically around work orders, if you make it available for somebody to be able to fill it out, then our team can definitely submit it. If they get all the information from the resident, they can go submit the work order. And then again, it's designed to take workload off your team. All right. Well, we'll give it another minute here. All right. Well, great. And Vanessa, thank you for all the questions. You can always reach out to our team, go onto our website, and just, you can start a chat or, fill out our, schedule Genie, schedule a call, and we can get you in touch with somebody who can answer all your questions. Okay. All right. Well, again, everyone, thanks for showing up. We're going to go ahead and end the webinar now. You'll see a recording in these slides shortly. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And thank you all for attending.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.
All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye.